Edward Lucas volgt voor het Engelse blad The Economist al meer dan 20 jaar lang de ontwikkelingen in Centraal- en Oost-Europa. Hij schreef het boek De Nieuwe Koude Oorlog, waarin hij niet te spreken is over de Russische democratie en de houding van de West-Europese landen ten opzichte van Rusland. Wij spraken met hem tijdens een lezing in debatcentrum Tumult in Utrecht. Medvedev was elected the new president. Does this mean anything, or is Putin just in the same kind of power?
I didn't notice any elections in Russia. Maybe I missed something. I saw a succession process. One thing you can say is the Russian political system is closed. And that event, I wouldn't call it an election, but the event of Sunday 2 weeks ago was both predictable and mystifying. And that's a paradox, worthy of a great Russian novelist like Bulgakov or Nabokov. It was predictable because we know who was going to win, and it was mystifying because we don't know what it means. Is Medvedev just going to keep the seat warm for Putin? Are they going to run a double act? Is Medvedev going to step down, Putin comes back, or what? We just don't know, because the political system is no longer open. If Barack Obama wins the presidential election in America, we know he'll become president. There's a big difference between the American system and the Russian one.
Do you have a favorite in the American elections to kind of stand up against Putin?
Yeah, McCain, definitely. McCain made a very good joke the other day. He said that President Bush looked into Putin's eyes and got a sense of his soul. And he said, I looked into his eyes and I saw 3 letters, K, G and B. The Kremlin doesn't need to use tanks, it can use banks. It's got money, and with tens of billions of dollars you can buy politicians, you can buy parties, you can buy institutions, you can buy countries, and that's exactly what they're doing. It's quite different from the old Cold War. The old Cold War was a military and ideological confrontation, it was global. Russia's a lot weaker now, it's not communist, it's not using military power to get what it wants, but instead it's using economic power, business, sometimes cash, mostly gas. And that's having a big impact in Eastern Europe and actually in Western Europe. And I'm alarmed about that, and I want to wake people up. And that's why I've given this book a very provocative title, because I want people to pay attention before it's too late.
Too late for what exactly?
Well, the later we leave it, the harder it's going to be to deal with the gas dependency that we have. And in the old Cold War, Europe said they would never take more than 30% of the gas they needed from the Soviet Union, because that would be dangerous. Now we take a lot more. Some countries well over 50%.
What then can the European countries do?
Well, we have to do lots of things. We have to bargain effectively, in a collective way. We have to accept that energy security is national security, and that may mean energy is more expensive. And we cannot run our energy policy just in the interests of the shareholders or of the consumers. We have to say to the Russians, you need us more than we need you. We are 450 million people. We are 5-6 times richer than you. And if we're going to buy energy from you, which is great, we want to have some changes, including liberalisation of the gas pipeline monopoly, new pipelines, and we also want some other things. We want to have a much tougher line on democracy. You can't pretend that you're a democracy when you don't have real elections, when you don't have free media, when you have people being locked up in psychiatric hospitals because of political dissent, when you have the criminalisation of political protest through extremism law, this venomous anti-Western rhetoric on a whole range of things. Russia is no longer fit to be a member of the Council of Europe. And we should say, sorry guys, you want to be democratic? That's great, you're welcome. You don't want to be democratic? Then tough, you have to leave.